The efficiencies are these U-shaped bands that are in the curve. And you'll notice that out on the very far perimeters there's a 70% efficiency band, and then as it moves in it goes 80, 83, up to 86% efficient. So this pump, the best it can do is 86% efficiency. That's pretty good for a pump, actually. Anything over 80% is generally a pretty darn good pump. The NPSH, what is the net positive suction head characteristics of that pump? Now we have diagonal lines going from upper right to lower left, pretty straight down the face. And over here on the left-hand side, it says, well, it's 10 foot inefficient. It requires NPSHR of 10 feet. As we go further to the right of the curve, more flow, the NPSH goes to heck, and it goes out to 15 to 20 feet, and beyond 20 feet you probably don't even want to use that pump. What that's saying is that we're out here at the far capacity at 2,000 gallons a minute. It's going to take about 20 feet, it's about 20 feet of inefficiency out of that total of 33 to 34 feet of potential positive suction that's out there. And we'll get into that in great detail, those of you that take the pumps class. For those of you that won't go on in irrigation, the thing you need to know is if a pump will start but won't maintain flow because you're putting lots of water through it, it could be that you have created a suction characteristic problem and exceeded the NPSH of the pump. Because what a lot of people will do is they'll be running 4 sprinklers out on that golf course, and they say, gosh, 4 sprinklers look really good. We'll just turn another one on. Well, they turn another one on, what's going to happen? Pressure's going to drop, isn't it? So we go from here, pressure goes, we add more flow, so we go this way on the chart, and the pressure drops. But we've also increased the NPSH of the pump. So now maybe we violated the NPSH on the pump. That's one of those hidden things that you don't see. You can look at the pressure drop on the system. You can measure it with a gauge real quickly. You say, well, maybe we shouldn't do that. You know, we want to keep the pressure up. We better go back to 4 instead of 5. But the next guy will say, well, 5's working, let's try 6. You know, the pump will keep pumping water. Well, we got 6 running now. We're running 1.5 times what we thought we should run with this pump. Now we're really starting to push ourselves over here to the right-hand side of the curve. And we could be getting ourselves in big trouble with the NPSH. I don't want to dwell on that too much, but it can be a real problem. Then also we have a position called the shutdown head. And that's over here at 0 flow. One thing you need to know about all centrifugal style pumps, any pump that has an impeller in it, is that it just doesn't keep building more pressure, more pressure, more pressure. It has a maximum pressure. And you'll note here that there is a maximum pressure for each of those values. Okay? There is a maximum pressure for each of those values. And so the biggest diameter impeller, the most it can produce is about 205 psi. So that's the maximum pressure that's at 0 flow. That thing will be just a hauling away. No water's going down. You turn the valve off at the pump. It's still running, but it isn't building more and more and more case pressure. No, it builds pressure up to 205 psi and it stabilizes right there. But is it good to have that pump running at 0 flow? What's happening? What's burning up?
The bearings are running.
What's happening inside that pump? Everything's getting hotter and hotter and hotter. That's right. Because in a centrifugal style pump, the coolant is the liquid you're passing through it. So you're cooling the running parts inside of that pump by passing the water over it and letting the water absorb the heat the mechanical energy is generating inside the unit, and the hydraulic energy is creating. So with no flow, you have no liquid cooling taking place. It's like running your car with no water in the radiator. You know, it run fine for a very short period of time, but pretty soon it starts to heat up and all the metal parts start getting hotter. And what happens when metal gets hot? It expands. Well, the outer parts are expanding in and the inner parts are expanding out, and they eventually are going to seize up. And you have a locked rotor on your pump. And you get to spend some money to repair it.
In the case of warmer temperature water, like say like Smith's or
Hot water.
they just have motors that are